Welcome, everybody, to another live roundtable edition right here in our studios from Inside Out. Again, thank you guys so much for joining. I do appreciate it. And as usual, we're going to be talking about a big mess, if you will, what happened over there in Uvalde. I'm going to be showing some facts and some details and all that on my screen here tonight. And I hope you guys appreciate the podcast itself and how, we all feel about what happened on that very tragic day. Nonetheless, before we get into all the, effed up details, major shout out to everybody that's in here tonight. Trey Stone, what's up, my friend? Thank you again so much for being in here as usual. I appreciate you more than you know. So again, welcome to the show, Trey Stone. And of course, my good friend over there in Kansas too as well. Welcome, Curtis. How you doing, Curtis? Thank you again so much for being here. I appreciate you. And my good friend, Just Jules, 123. Thank you so much for being in here. I appreciate you too as well. Much love and respect to over there with all to you and everybody over there in your neck of the woods. With that being said, I'm pretty sure I don't know if I missed anybody, but if I did, I don't see it on here because, obviously if you guys don't know how this works, when you do live streams and you put other platforms on here, the comments don't show up here, as you guys know. So I don't see a lot of the comments, but nonetheless, from a YouTube perspective, I do get your comments from YouTube, depending on who it is. Redeemin', right? What's going on, Redeemin'? Thank you so much for being in here. And it's good to see you. I hope you're doing good in your neck of the woods. I think my good friend Tammy is also going to be in here tonight on the live panel, I think, anyways, as usual. But she might be probably running a little bit late. She's got a life too, besides this. So anyways, it is what it is. But with that being said, major shout out to every one of you. Thank you guys so much for being in here. I understand that, you all have your own certain lives and whatnot, and it's hard to sit down and watch these shows. That's why I try to do them at that, a decent time, 8, 9 o'clock at night when everybody's, settled in and relaxing and doing what they do. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the podcast for here tonight. Anyways, as you guys know, we're going to be talking about the event that was major breaking news over every news major, God, I can't even talk tonight. Every major news outlet. I'll get it out. Anyways, and it was a major tragic event nonetheless. And of course, lives were lost, including innocent children that, I can't even speak on that without getting emotion on it. But as you guys know, there was a tragic event that happened in a school, again, as usual. And it was the Uvalde school shooting. I think I said that right. Anyways, as you guys can see in the title description, we're going to be talking about the event, not so much what happened, but what happened with the officers and why there's a lawsuit and everything like that going on here tonight. I felt it was fitting because obviously it's just more proof in the pudding as any other story or case that has come before you, that our whole entire system. And now keep in mind, guys, when I say system, I mean the whole entire thing, not just prison, not just courts, not just anything. The whole entire system that's tied to it has a certain amount of accountability that needs to be held with them. And Trey Stone said, yeah, I blame the system. I blame the system too. But the cops in this case, as you guys probably seen, there's video on it to back up the claims here. So don't take my word for it. Go check it out yourself. I did put the links to everything here tonight. Everything here tonight is going to be in the description of my video tonight. So go check it out. They're pinned and tagged in there. So it is what it is. Hey, Tammy, how you doing? Welcome to the show, Tammy. Hope you're good. Again, if you want to pop up in here and help do this podcast with me, you're more than welcome to do so. The link is in the pinned chat. All right. Anyways, back on topic. The cops are in some big hot water when it comes to their actions with that event that took place. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll show that here tonight. But the cops, when they arrived on the scene, they didn't immediately react or stop the event from happening. They were basically caught on video on people's cell phones, and I believe even the news media cameras picked them up just standing around doing nothing. That's the topic tonight. We're going to try to dive in why these officers didn't do their duty. And before you guys beat me up in the comment section, understand this. And John hit on this earlier in a private chat. It is, without any shadow of doubt, there is no obligation whatsoever for any law officer or police department to serve and protect us out here. It's a fact, believe it or not. Tammy said this real quick. We're going to start this podcast off real quick. Tammy said, sending love, light to all. Absolutely. Thank you so much. We definitely need it. Right back at you, Tammy. And Redeeman said this in the comments. He said this, I guess they'll let anyone be an officer. Just gotta audit. Have to do this. Running fast for donuts and not worry about the crimes as going on. Yeah, I see your point there. Absolutely, Redeeman. Thank you so much for that. And my good friend Curtis got in here just now and said, hey, all. Yep. Hey, Curtis, I'm glad to see you in here, my friend. Thank you so much for being here. So, Tammy, real quick, if you can hear me before I get any more details of this podcast, did you want to jump in here tonight? Let me know, and I'll get you in before we do the share screen. So pop in here real quick if you want to, and we'll go from there. And as we're waiting for this, Trey Stone said, or waiting for her, I should say, excuse me, Trey Stone said this, I blame the system. Absolutely. I mean, we can't blame the school. We can't blame the parents. We can't blame, the kids. We're supposed to put the blame where the blame is supposed to be, right? Well, in this case, I blame the cops. I blame the system as a whole. So everything in general. Absolutely, Trace, for that. Thank you so much. And Trey Stone sent this. Stopping parents from going inside. Stupid. But braver than the officers. Yeah, you hit that right on the button, Trey. It was actually, I believe, on video or caught on video, I believe, or in an interview, one of the two, that one of the parents said, screw this, and they went inside the school during the event. That just goes to show you who's more braver, the parents or the cops. It's a no-brainer. And welcome to the show, Mark. How you doing? Thank you so much for being here, stopping in to show some support. Much love and respect to all here. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thanks for stopping by, and at least coming in here and being part of the show. I appreciate you nonetheless. And Jules got in here and said this real quick. Yep, absolutely. And then he replied back, hi, Jules, big hug to you. Absolutely. Thank you guys for being here. I do appreciate it. Anyways, guys, we're going to go ahead and get into the topic here tonight. So let me go ahead and do my share screen. John is in here. Hey, John, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, my friend. It's always an honor to have you in here with your insight and knowledge. Much love and respect to you, my friend. All right, let's go ahead and do the share screen. And again, one more time, Tammy, did you want to come in here real quick? If you can, let me know, Tammy, if you want to stop in and get in the live panel before I do the share screen. Because if I do the share screen, then I'm not going to be able to get you up until I stop share screen. Yeah, absolutely. And then Curtis said, but the state want to take parents' rights away from parenting. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, Curtis. Spot the hell on for that comment. Thank you so much for that comment, Curtis. Appreciate you there. And Mark said this, hi, John Doe. Hope you're having a blessed day. Yeah, I hope you are too, my friend. All right, let's go ahead and get into the share screen here on this topic and go from there. Okay, come on. Share screen. Where is it? What's going on with this thing? Are you going to cooperate? There it is. I'm going to be showing you guys an article tonight. So here it is. Oops. Hey, Tammy, welcome to the show.
I'm here. I'm going to mute myself for a sec while you're doing everything.
Okay, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that, Tammy.
You're welcome.
All right. So while we're waiting for Tammy to get done doing what she's doing there, in the comment section, guys, let me know if you guys can see this on the screen really well. If not, I'll zoom in some more just so you guys can see it better. But we're talking about this right here. And oops, it's not going to let me share screen that or highlight it. Does that look like a happy face to you guys? This is the family of the or parents of the lost loved ones that happened inside that school. But I want you guys to pay attention to this really real quick right here. Uvalde families reach a $2 million settlement, with the city, and say they are suing school district and 92 officers over shooting response. I don't blame them. I absolutely don't blame them. And it's absolutely ridiculous of the situation at hand here. And I'm going to be pointing this in to your guys' behalf right here tonight. So I hope you guys can appreciate some of this data. So let's find the story on this. Where is it? And before I do, I want you guys to know that all credit and whatnot go to CNN for putting this story on. I don't know why it's not showing the story. So let me get out of this and go to a different thing. Here's the article that I want to share with you guys. But all these articles, by the way, that I'm showing you on the screen are in the description of this video. You guys can go click on that and read this in your own time and leisure. But nonetheless, for content for tonight, here it is. Uvalde shooting. Here's everything that turned out not be true. Here it is. And this was put up. Again, all credit go to the person that put this up at Forbes. Anna Kaplan. There it is. And it was updated, I guess, on June 4th, 2022. All right. So let's go ahead and highlight this for you guys. Let me read this real quick. I see you guys in the chat. Just bear with me. Texas authorities have faced mounting criticism for offering contradicting reports and retracting key details about the timeline of the shooting that left 19 students, that's correct, 19 students and 2 teachers deceased at the elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. Uvalde, last week, as the public rages over the amount of time it took for officers to confront and neutralize the 18-year-old gunman. Now, guys, you guys can see that obviously they're going to do their part to try to explain the reasonings. But this is why we're talking about this here tonight. This is the reason why I believe all police officers clear across this country, whether you guys agree with me or not, should be completely reformed on all levels. That's how I look at it. You know, and this is where we stand in this mess. This should never have happened. This should not even be a story. And 19, at least not 19, innocent children should never have lost their lives, including the staff. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, there's video on this. If you guys remember, it was caught on camera, if I'm not mistaken, that these officers were just standing around and not neutralizing the situation. And with that, I have no respect for cops, especially with them and what they did. And of course, they're going to come up with every kind of detail and excuse they can. But nonetheless, let's go ahead and dive into the facts of this right here tonight from Inside Out. Brave resource officers, again, brave resource officers. And if you don't know who they are, they're officers that actually work inside of our local schools. All right. They're still police officers, but they're inside of our schools called resource officers, just so you guys understand what that is. Anyways, let me go ahead and highlight this all so you guys can see where I'm at. We'll do one paragraph at a time. Anyways, it says this: brave resource officers. Texas Department of Public Safety Regional Director Victor Escalon retracted an initial claim. Texas DPS Director Stephen McCraw made that a brave resource officer confronted the gunman outside of Robb Elementary School, saying at a press conference last week that he report excuse me, that the report was not accurate. Well, imagine that. And that the shooter, Salvador Ramos, walked into the school unobstructed. What's your guys' take on that real quick? Let's go ahead and see some of the chat real quick. It says, Trey Stone said this, except ex-felons, of course, we can't defend ourselves or families. Correct. Thank you, Trey Stone, for that. Mark got in here and said, I am an ex-felon too. I'm just lucky that my wife can have a gun by our laws in the state. I just can't have access to the key she keeps in the safe. I understand that. John said, so the question here is how plaintiffs can make that showing as not to lose on summary judgment. Absolutely. Tammy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I just wanted to check up on you and see how.
I don't know if you
Go
can
ahead.
hear me, but my whole issue
I can hear you. Go ahead, Tim.
Okay. So my whole issue with this case in particular is that 18-year-old young man had issues, and they had encounters with him before.
Correct.
And it is so frustrating to know that this was another, once again, tragic event that could have been prevented. I am not going to sit here and beat up a bunch of cops that followed the direction of one person who obviously had no clue how to handle this situation. He kept parents from breaking windows to get kids out. He kept law enforcement officers from proceeding to stop this gunman.
See, that's bullcrap.
He made some horrendous, absolute horrendous decisions that day. And what bothered me the most is, say, how many manslaughter convictions do we have in this country?
A lot. I don't have a number.
Like, there's people that truly have accidents, and whether it be for medical purposes, they had a stroke and they killed somebody, or different things, and it just depends on how it's spun by the DA. That's always our problem, what the DA chooses and why they choose it, whether it's a political agenda, they got an axe to grind, whatever the hell it is.
Right.
But at what point, that was a lot of lives and a lot of families and a community ruined behind one person's decision. And whoever interacted with that family and that 18-year-old and his family, proceeding up to the events that led to this tragic destruction of a community.
Right. And you bring up some great points there, my friend. And understand this. We all want to know what was the mindset and the thinking process, if you will, of this 18-year-old. What made this 18-year-old want to go out and do this? And I truly believe that if we could have, figured out him as a whole, with him already being, put out there as a record, you would think that we would obtain it and stop it from happening before it happened. I mean, we got to start somewhere. This person obviously is possibly suffering some type of mental.
They actually had interaction with him before over issues.
Okay, well
they already knew he was a ticking time bomb.
Okay, so that's my point.
So do we hold them criminally responsible is what I'm getting at. Do we?
Yes.
Because we can go retroactively back on other crimes based on hearsay.
Correct.
Trust me, I know this one real well. So if we can do that, then why can't they do that with this case? Because when, as a public, as citizens, do we stand up and say, okay, well, you had contact with him on this day, and this was what transpired, but yet he was walking around free because you didn't see that he needed help? You decided. Listen, they need to set up a system where when they encounter somebody and they have that, I think a lot of us have that gut instinct. And in talking to somebody, you can tell that something's just off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
At what point we seem to infringe upon all other kinds of rights, but we don't seem to have enough interest in protecting the public from things like this, where they could have referred him
Mm-hmm.
and said, you know what, I think we need to bring you in and have you examined.
Correct.
You get where I'm going? Like, I don't know what it's going to take. We're talking about innocent babies that never get to live their life ever again.
I agree. I know. And like you have a mindset like me where we have to figure out, again, being that he already had an encounter and a history, this could have been avoided. So ignorance in this situation is no excuse. That's just where I'm at with it. But moving on real quick, guys. So it says this in the paragraph that I got highlighted here. It says, officer at school. McCraw further clarified last week that the officer was not on campus at the time of the shooting, which is hard to believe. Where was he then? Anyways, but was close enough that he was one of the first responding officers on the scene. And officials have not addressed why the school resource officer was not at the school at the time of the shooting. Now, that's a good question. Why was he off the grounds? Why wasn't he there? Great. That's a great question to ask. Here's some more information, guys, and these are all basically facts here. Did contain him. Okay, so that's the title. McCraw initially said the first responding officers on the scene did engage immediately. Now you guys heard that correctly. Did engage immediately with Ramos and did contain him in a conjoined set of classrooms. Oh, imagine that. So they had him contained to a certain extent. Says it right there. Though he later said the first 3 officers entered the school minutes after Ramos, but he had already locked himself inside of the classroom and fired toward the officers from inside the classroom, causing graze wounds of 2 of the officers. So there you guys go. Interesting information. Moving on real quick to this. Without hesitation is the next one. Texas DPS Lieutenant Chris Olivares made a similar claim in an interview on the Today Show, saying officers responded within a month's notice and without hesitation tried to make entry into that school. Though according to the most current police timeline provided by McCraw, it took officers 2 minutes to enter the school after Ramos, and it took nearly an hour for tactical teams to enter the school after Ramos entered. I have a lot of questions on that, like all of you do, I'm sure too. Interesting. Moving on, it says this: propped door. On Tuesday, Texas officials reportedly reversed an earlier claim that a teacher had propped open a door 5 minutes before Ramos entered the school, and instead said the teacher had closed the door prior to the shooting, but the door did not lock as it should have. How interesting. It's amazing how people's stories keep changing. I'll make this quick, guys, and then I'm going to come back into the chat and do some more information. Anyways, Don Flaherty, a lawyer for the teacher, told the San Antonio Express News his client had popped the door open with a rock while carrying food for a class party inside, but quickly closed the door while calling 911 after she saw Ramos walking toward the school. Very interesting. 5 minutes outside. Escalon said last week that the gunman was outside of the school for about 12 minutes before walking inside, locking himself inside a classroom. But McCraw later updated the timeline, indicating that the shooter was inside the school within 5 minutes of crashing his pickup truck into a ditch outside. Interesting. Last but not least, I think, anyways, Ramos in custody. Uvalde police initially claimed that Ramos was in police custody, but the department later clarified that the U.S. Border Patrol tactical team killed him after breaching the classroom he had barricaded himself in. Imagine that. So, see, the police lie right there in front of your face. What's your take on all this, Tammy?
Well, I mean, like, I've looked at it, and I actually used to live very, very close to there. And
Mhm.
and the funny thing about it is, he man, I like I told you, it was like ineffective communication. This one,
Mhm.
that one. Where is
Mhm.
all the, like, how many drills do they have to have in schools and for these type of situations? But then when it comes down to actually putting in, I mean, I can't imagine the pressure that everybody felt that day. They didn't want to hurt children, obviously. But then I wonder, when he was shooting out the door, what if they would have just shot back? Would they have killed him? Could there have been a
Well,
way? Would they have killed innocent kids? Maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't know what, like, we have to figure out the prevention into this. I've worked in schools for years and years and years, and I just don't understand how you get in a school like that. I mean, where do
well,
we start? We enclose and encage people in prisons where they can't get out. Why can't we do that around the schools to protect our children?
mhm.
Why can't we have those type of security measures for the most precious thing that we
well,
have, our children?
Well, yeah, and keep in mind, back in our day, or back in your day of school, my day of school, we didn't even have any security whatsoever. We didn't have what we
No.
have today, as you guys can see. But keep in mind and understand this, that every what is it? Every school today now has, in some circumstances, and I wouldn't say every school, but dang near almost every school has metal detectors now in them, I believe, in some cases, and we have resource officers up and down the
But
halls,
what good
which
is
I
that going to do you when they start shooting outside and they shoot as they're going
obviously
into the
nothing.
school? That's
Obviously
my
nothing.
point. So where's our
I know.
protective glass on the doors? Where is the security before we even go in? Just like when you go to a prison, you have to go through a search and you have to go through security before you even enter into the prison itself. They have a
Mhm.
guardhouse. If you go to the Capitol where the president is, you have to
Oh
go
yeah.
through a checkpoint. If you're
Yep.
traveling in Texas, from
Mhm.
in certain parts of Texas out in the middle of friggin' nowhere, you have to drive
Mhm.
through a checkpoint because you can't go around it. There is no other road. You have to go through the checkpoint. They have
Correct.
dogs, they have all that. But we don't
They
find that necessary to spend that kind of money on our children. Why?
correct, and they have fences up too, and all of these big politicians and whatnot have guards 24 hours, 24 hour security.
They're all
You know,
protected, but not our
they're-
children, not our
right. It
teachers.
does, I can
Why?
see your point. That makes great sense. Absolutely. John Doe got in here and said, "What happened there is someone in command who had never seen a gunfight firsthand. Training is one thing, having bullets flying at you is another." Absolutely. Thank you, John.
Well, he stood back and he made decisions not even being, like, in the flux of things. And that's another issue. I mean, like
Right.
like you see it in the military all the time, okay? You have these officers, no offense, officers that are college graduates that
Hmm.
are higher ranking than the grunts, as we call them, or
Hmm.
the soldiers that are on foot. And the soldiers who have to do the hand-to-hand combat and have to be out in the field and feel it, but the commanding officers, they're not in the field. and they're telling them war strategy, but yet they're not the ones there doing the combat. And so
Correct.
all of these police officers that wanted to go in, they knew what the hell they were doing, and they knew what they needed to do to take him out. I
Mm-hmm.
promise you, had they have been allowed to do their job, the outcome of this would have been so much different. And
Right.
it ruined them. I promise you, psychologically, those officers that wanted to go in that day to Uvalde school and
Mm-hmm.
protect those children and
Mm-hmm.
wanted to fire back and wanted to do certain things would have saved so many lives.
Oh, I
And I
know.
promise you that they have very many sleepless nights over
Oh,
this.
I'm pretty sure it's eating them alive every day. Absolutely.
Yeah,
But my question for you, if I may ask you, being that you have, obviously family that were or probably still are cops, if you don't mind me asking this to you, Tammy, what would they have done in this situation if the shoe was on the other foot?
my father would have went in and he would have took him out. There'd have been
So
no
he
doubt
wouldn't
in
have.
my friggin' mind. Even if he was going to be riddled with bullets himself, he would have
Mhm.
took that man out. He would be
Right,
dead. He would that
right.
18-year-old kid
But
would have been gone. He
my
would
point
not have
is he would.
hesitated.
Yeah, I get it. And my point is he wouldn't have stood around and done nothing.
Right. Here's the thing. It's just like in the military when they go overseas and they're in war, we don't hear the ugly side of things. And like this whole thing of reporters going with the military and filming and all this bullshit that you see, you don't
Mhm,
see it all. You know why
mhm,
guys and gals come back so messed up? Because when they're in war or an act of violence,
mhm.
if there are innocents that get hit in the way of taking down a target, it happens. Unfortunately, you'll take down a few innocents to get rid of the main target so that they can't amass a huge destruction.
Right.
You get what I'm saying, right? But
Oh, I do.
the
Yeah.
problem in this was there were so many officers that wanted to act that were not given the opportunity to act.
Correct.
And that sucks. That absolutely, every military or officer that I know personally
Mhm.
would have disobeyed that one person's orders and would have overrun them and got into that school and saved those kids and those teachers. They
Yeah.
would have took him out. They would have found a way. If it meant breaking a window in the classroom he was at and taking his ass out, he would have been out. You see
Wow.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They could have busted a window and shot him dead where he stood, and unfortunately those children would have had to see it, but they were already seeing their friends being murdered. So either
Yeah.
way, there was no around that. And I know a
Right.
lot of people will say, "Oh, hindsight's 2020," and y'all just up there talking. No, I'm telling you, as a parent, as a friggin' parent, had I been there that day, they would have had to shoot me dead going to a window to get my kid out of there. And I know there were
Right.
parents that went through that. There were parents busting windows, grabbing their kids out of that school. They
Yeah. I
disobeyed
mean,
police officers.
it's a no brainer when it comes to this type of activity and what you're
That's your
supposed to
child.
do. But again, keep in mind, and John made a good point, and it is true that police officers are technically not obligated. That's the word I'm looking for, to serve and protect us. And John hit that. That is true. So, but thank you,
It's
Tammy, for
sad,
your
but
insight. It is. It is. Thanks for your insight, though, Tammy. I appreciate you. As you guys can see, I'm going through the chat as Tammy is speaking, and I'm falling behind here, so bear with me, guys. But you guys were all, as always on fire in the chat, and I appreciate you guys more than you know. Redeeming said that guy Ramos also shot his granny. Oh wow! See, I didn't know
oh
that,
yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
and I even though I didn't follow this much on the news and whatnot, but nonetheless, I didn't know it. I knew he did. I knew he did the school shooting, but I didn't know he did that too. Holy crap! So this guy he basically lost his marbles, if I can speak that. You know,
Yeah. I mean,
so.
I've seen these kind of things happen on and off. It's gotten progressively worse.
Right.
Um, it's just
Wanda. Hey,
crazy.
Wanda. Wanda's in here.
Hi, Wanda. It's just absolutely to me. I'm sick at the fact that mental illness takes a back seat to everything. If they have mental illness, I want to see people get help.
Right.
Like, let's help them in whatever way that we need to help them before it becomes a situation
Mhm.
like this.
Right. Yeah, and I know for a fact if I was there and if my kids were in that school, I wouldn't hesitate to walk in that school and try to take care of it myself. Because it's a no-brainer. You shouldn't have to wait until the police do something. We should be able to react. It's our right.
Back in our day, did you see that one? Did you go back to the other one? Back in our day, something about bullies.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
No, it's okay.
Back
Back
in
in
our
our day,
day,
yeah,
go
that
ahead.
one. Back in our day, whoever threw the first punch got in trouble. Now they punish both students and they do nothing to stop bullying. Here's the
Yeah.
problem. It's kind of like our thing or pipelines to prison. They don't want to teach them how to socialize and how to solve problems. They just want them not to commit the offense at all and zero tolerance, blah, blah, blah. And then we have a bunch of juveniles running
Hmm.
around who end up in prison because they've already got a record instead of helping
Yeah.
them.
Yep. Crazy.
It's nuts.
Uh, Yeah, Mark got in here and said this. And if there was a bully in our day, we got to go home at night. Now they get tormented on social media too. Yeah, because back in the day when we had issues like a bully or any kind of beef, if you will, Mark, back in your day, my day, we handled it like, how technically you're supposed to handle it. Now, today, everybody does all this online stuff. And Tammy must have lost. Oh, she's back. Must have lost her. Welcome back, Tammy.
Oh, I didn't
And
know why it lost me, but okay.
it's maybe I don't know either. I'm having a lot of
It's
tech
okay.
issues, but anyways, back in our day, we handled stuff like we're supposed to. Today, it's crazy how things are done online now, and that makes you tough. Is do all this online stuff and makes you like you're just like this. And I don't think nobody's tough online. To be honest with you,
I just don't think that they have social skills anymore because there is no socialization. They've taken that
correct.
all out of schools. Everything's computerized. We stay on our phones all the time.
Yep,
Everything's video games and fake reality and all of that. So
correct.
anytime they deal with a situation in the real world, which, a lot of us older people live in,
Hmm.
they don't recognize that. They don't know how to deal with their feelings. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to express things in a way that's healthy. And I'm not
Yeah,
saying every child is like this, but it's sure a lot of them are,
yeah.
unfortunately.
Well, we just don't have bully problems. We have what is it called? Uh, where people are offing themselves on live shows. You know, I don't want. I got to be careful what I say on here, obviously.
Yeah,
But I've
yes, we can say the word. I think we can say that word though. The
oh
Sue,
well,
I,
and,
yeah.
basically unaliving is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean,
un,
we have a lot of that, and a lot of people find that as the solution, a quick solution to a problem, and they leave the rest of us to try and wonder why did they do that, or the family
mhm,
suffers and the friends because we beat ourselves up. Well, maybe I should have said this to him or her, or maybe I should have recognized again.
mhm.
Mental illness is a huge issue
Yeah, and it
that
don't
we
get
are not
addressed.
addressing.
No, we're not. Absolutely not. And Curtis, my friend, said you have to stand up to bullies. Yeah, and when we do, we get the shitty end of the stick. believe it or not. We get charged, or something bad can happen to us. Can I post a link, speaking of bullying, for a petition of a little 10-year-old boy, Sammy, who committed suicide due to bullying, and we're trying to get things to change? Yeah, you can, absolutely. I'm
Please
gonna,
do.
Jules, oh wait, you are a mod. So Jules, please do. Yes, you should. You have
Please
that
do.
ability to do.
Please, please, please.
Yes, absolutely. It says, Redeem said, bullies are predators too, so are racists and murderers. Absolutely. I think, and it's funny. I don't know if I should even bring this up, but hey, it is what it is. I think bullies should be on the list too. This is how I know
So
that was kind of,
anybody that commits an offense of any kind should be on a list for that offense. Period. My opinion. For what it's
yep.
worth out there, folks. So bullies in particular, I will tell you, I have encountered when I was working at schools, bullies 9 times out of 10 after I met the parents. You could tell the kid was going through crap at home.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the kids were even being beaten and all kinds of crap that they were going through. I have one,
Thank you, Jules.
my oldest daughter, when she was 5, came home with a black eye, and this little girl
Yeah,
had
see,
hit her.
I
And
don't,
so what had happened though, but let me tell you, it's really sad. Her father had died, and she was angry, so she was beating up everybody in kindergarten. And I looked at the principal. She goes, "I'll just move Veronica to the other classroom." I was like, "No, you won't. Nah, nuh-uh. Let's get her mom in here and let's get her some help. She needs some help. She doesn't need everybody to be moved away from her. And she needs help. Let's get her some help."
yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I agree. I think we need to reach out and give more help to the whole entire country, instead of just locking them up and throwing away the key. I don't think incarceration for a lot of issues is the answer. And even though we're kind of going off topic here, I wanted to speak on that real quick because I truly believe, which I think you agree with, Tammy, and others in the chat, I truly believe that not everything should be in prison. Do you agree?
Yeah, I don't think that they all need to be in prison. I think some people have a lot to offer the world
Yeah.
and society as a whole if they are in the right mindset and can be rehabilitated for a purposeful thing. Um, they find them safe enough to work out in the public outside of the prison, but don't find them safe enough to release. That
Mm-hmm.
makes absolutely no friggin' sense to me, because I promise you, they're not all out there with guards sitting at McDonald's while they're working all day.
Correct.
They're bussed. How does that work? How does the work program work? They go out, they get bussed to wherever, dropped off at work, and they get picked up, right? Isn't that correct?
Right. Correct.
Is it? No, I'm asking. I'm not positive, so
Oh,
I don't want to be talking out of my head.
oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were. Sorry.
So do they drop them off? Do they drop them off at like Taco Bell, Burger King, McDonald's, or with the highway construction crew? I know some of them that are like picking up trash. Yes, they have armed guards with them, blah, blah, blah. Or the ones working out in the fields like slaves. We got to mention
Yeah.
those folks, because God knows here in Texas, they don't get paid. They're out there
Right.
and they're harvesting peanuts, seriously, peanuts, literally, out in the
Oh,
field in the
that's a
Texas
dirty
heat.
hot job. Yeah.
Out in the Texas heat, triple digits, and they work those fields, and they have to work. They don't have a choice, because if they don't, they're going to the shoe. And so they don't get paid. But okay, so the other ones, McDonald's, or they work at such and such company or whatever, they get dropped
Mm-hmm.
off, right? Do they get dropped off like from a prison van or whatever?
I believe.
Then they
I
get
believe
picked
so.
up.
I believe so. I believe
Okay.
so.
So what in the hell? if they can go out in public and work, what is our purpose? What, we're just housing them at night to sleep and get the revenue off their back? Is that what it
Yeah.
is?
You
That's
can't
what
forget
it
about
is,
that
right?
revenue. That's more
Yeah,
important.
exactly. See, I got it. Bless you, Ranger. Yeah. I mean, if anybody knows about that, please tell me what goes on in your state. I'm curious. Texas, they do not get paid, folks. They don't give a damn. They're not getting no money.
Tammy, Wanda wanted to let you know that she knows a call from you, but missed it because I guess she was having a bad day. But we're here for you nonetheless, Wanda. So
send you your love, sister. We're here. No big.
We're all dealing with We're all
at.
dealing with certain situations as of late, and it just seems it keeps piling on. But we're going to get through this nonetheless, Wanda. We're here for you. Curtis said, "I'm tough." LOL. Yeah, we all have to be a certain degree. Just not a bully. Yeah, absolutely. Curtis, good to know. Yeah, you got to be tough.
Curtis, I got to ask you from a veteran's wife to a veteran. So I told my husband, I said, you got to get back in that military mindset, honey. Did that help you? Did that help you when you were going through it in there?
Is that for Curtis?
Let me know in the chat, Curtis. Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't it Curtis? Curtis is our vet, isn't he?
Just for you guys' information, if you're new here, Curtis, it's in the chat. He's a veteran. So let him know how you feel about all that. Yeah, show him some love and let him know that we appreciate his service to this country. Absolutely. Wanda says, facts, Mark. Absolutely. And then Just Jules, absolutely, absolutely, Mark. Basically, that's who that is. John got in here and said this. The thing, and I respect John more than you guys know. The thing is that punishment makes psychopaths. Yeah, I can see that. People like Gacy, Bundy, Crow, and perhaps Dodd more dangerous because,
Yeah, I agree. No, go ahead.
More dangerous because they resent the punishment by virtue of not being able to see a wrong. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. Thank you, John.
Yeah, and we also end up with people acting a certain way when they get out of incarceration because they were put in. We've got some guys out here in Texas right now that have been without electricity for 5 days at the prison. The backup generators failed, and they're without. And then we have some females at another unit that are getting bit by black beetles and bird mites. They're being attacked and they've got welts and they can't even get medical care because it depends on the guard that they approach about their welts all over their body. And
we got, what is it, $400 billion annually coming in the system, and they can't get that portion of that thing fixed. Unbelievable. Gosh. Anyways,
it just amazes me. It's just, Redeeming said something in our private chat somewhere in our group that hit me tonight. Redeeming, when he was talking about that. Oh my goodness, I just lost my whole thought. Good grief,
absolutely, Curtis.
Redeeming, I know you said something. Is he in here?
He was. I don't know if he's still in here or not.
Redeeming, you were talking about people and how they're treated. You said something in our private chat.
Yeah, Redeeming, if you're in here, put that comment you made in the private chat earlier, put it up in here because you made a great point. But before we get out of here, I don't know if I even have time to do another share screen unless you guys just want to do this and call it a night. But the whole entire topic and reason why we're doing this show tonight, guys, was the fact that I'm not a very happy camper like all of you about our actions with that police department that day when that event took place. I think the whole thing was ridiculous. And I think them just standing outside letting this happen was just, I'm livid over it. Yeah.
Well,
So,
and the reason that this came up today in particular is that there was a judgment that came out where the families got 22 billion. I think
mhm.
that's a CNN clip, I think.
Okay.
Um, and let me see if I can pull it and I can just kind of read a little bit off of that. But there was an award that was done that they got
Yeah, it was
awarded money to
2 million.
families. And let's just say this, that never ever brings back a child
Oh, absolutely not.
or
Absolutely.
the heartache that this family went through. Oh, it's not showing it now. Dang it. Of
I get
course
it.
it's not. But anyway, I mean, my point being is that that judgment came down. They announced that on the TV today, and I was like, Jay, this is something maybe we need to focus on. Why? My question to all of you out in the chat: what kind of things could we do? And I just kind of want to take a little poll, just curious. How many of you feel like it should be criminal for that to have been allowed? The non-reactatory, hey, I understand. I don't remember. Maybe it was Sean that made the comment. I'm not sure about that particular person in charge, head honcho, made some really poor decisions because he had never been in the fire or whatever. But
Right.
you know, neither do a lot of other people that are sitting in prison for making poor choices. So there were all these people died because a guy made a choice to go in a school, but then another guy made a choice not to stop him. So
Mhm.
isn't he an accessory to the crime? Because God forbid if we're standing in a bank and we have the opportunity as a security guard to stop this person from shooting a bunch of people and we don't do anything, we're held as an accessory.
Correct.
So my point is, isn't everybody not above the law?
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great point.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Jay. But can y'all all vote kind of out there in the chat? I'd just be curious to see what your vote is on, do we think that criminal charges should have preceded this incident against the
Well,
people in charge?
here's my opinion slash vote, and this is just me. This is who I am. Me personally, I think the officers should be held accountable. Absolutely, every single one of them. So,
See, I'm on the fence a little bit. I think that they would have had to jump rank to go against their commanding
oh, I
officer,
would
who
have.
was that whole
Yeah.
guy. I know a lot of us that would, because we're reactatory instead of it's that whole life or flight. I would think your training would kick in, but obviously they've been taught to de-escalate instead of react, and I think that that's a big mistake in how we handle these types of things.
Correct. And John is completely correct in here. He said conspiracy is agreement plus overact. Yeah. And he also said this too earlier. Accessory means affirmative aid or concealment of the fact. Yeah.
Well,
Man.
how much was concealed if you go read all the state police's department, Texas Department of Public Safety? If you go in and read their report, there's a whole bunch of crap that was concealed that day.
Oh, I know.
So who do we put on the chopping block for that? Firing somebody's not enough. We have over here in Texas, and I know it happens in other prisons since this is a podcast about those types of things.
Hmm.
We have several correctional officers that do illegal things all the time. And
I
some of
know.
them do go to prison, but most of them just get fired and they can't ever work for the state again. But a felon is supposed to be treated so much differently. And I don't
Correct.
agree with that. What's good for one person is another. It's even more serious that somebody that's supposed to represent the law
Hmm.
should definitely be held to a higher set of standards.
Correct.
Because there's a lot of good cops out there that get the bad end of the stick because their fellow officers are doing things that aren't right, and correctional officers.
Hmm.
And it's the higher ups. It's a lot of the higher ups really that are the corruption.
The good old food chain, as they call it, the
Mhm.
command or chain of command.
Mhm.
I think that's ridiculous too. There's always got to be somebody above you, but when it comes to common sense, there should be no command chain. I don't
No,
know.
there shouldn't be a chain of command for that because, sometimes you just have to do what's
I agree,
correct.
Mark.
What did he say?
Amen. I'm for equality. I'm sorry, I can't say that word, but it's got to be
Equality.
equality. My bad. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that across the board. I agree. I totally agree with Mark on that. Fair is fair. Yeah. Thank you, Trey Stone. Higher standards
High
and higher
pay.
pay.
Yep. Yep. I agree.
Wanda said this: when someone is supposed to be serving and protecting isn't serving and protecting, we have issue. Right. But keep in mind, if you missed it earlier, Wanda, and this is all due to respect to John and whatnot, and I already knew this anyways, despite what John said, there is no obligation for any police officer in the country to serve and protect. It's in there.
John, if you
Trust me.
can you post the duty of a police officer, what their
Yeah.
oath is and what they're
I forget
supposed
what
to
it's. Yeah.
technical the
I know it.
technicality for everybody?
Yep. Curtis
Cuz
said, or initiative to arrest people for unconstitutional laws. Yeah, absolutely. See, and that's another thing. Great point, Curtis. Thank you so much for that comment. He did mention earlier, or excuse me, mention here that, obviously we do have, believe it or not, a lot of unconstitutional laws, and we're dealing with them daily. How come these unconstitutional laws aren't getting people arrested? Imagine that. But if we break these said laws, we get in trouble. But they
Well,
don't
that's
for.
that whole. It reminds me of when you're growing up and your parents say, "Don't cuss" or "Don't
Yeah.
drink" or "Don't smoke," and they're sitting there puffing the whole while
Yep.
their whole
Yeah.
pack
Don't
of
do don't
smokes,
do
or they're
drugs, but
drunk
yeah.
or they're high or they're doing something. And my parents didn't do that, but I'm just saying I saw people do that, and I was thinking, "You're telling me not to do this, but yet you're three sheets to the wind."
It's like
Like, it makes no sense. No,
it's like calling the kettle
it,
black.
it's hypocrisy at its finest.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, no, you're spot on, Tammy. Thank you. But anyways, guys, we're getting at the top of the hour. I got to get out of here. But again, as you guys know, I want you all to know I appreciate every single one of you and highly love and respect every single one of you guys that are in the chat. And of course, you too, Tammy. I wouldn't be able to do this podcast or anything really without your guys' help and support and you guys just being here and showing your love. I wish I really can show you how much I appreciate you without just saying all the time. But nonetheless, I really do appreciate you guys. And even though we're dealing with a lot of stuff, reach out to somebody that's dealing with something because we need to stand up for each other and be there for each other. Because if we don't, then we got that guilty conscience that's going to eat us alive and we could have done something for somebody. So if somebody's down or in a dark place or something like that, just reach out to them. We're not looking for a babysitting type thing. We're just wanting to be kind and show your love and respect to somebody because, again, you never know. It could happen to you. And then when you're needing somebody to reach out to you, they're not there for you. So just, be kind to each other, stop the hate, stop the bullying, and be there for people. Our past records shouldn't make who we are today. Even though it's a label, we shouldn't be labeled. And our past shouldn't define who we are today. That's how I look at it. All
that's
right. But
right. And, and,
anyways,
and
Tammy, go ahead,
well,
Tammy.
what I was going to say is kindness goes a long way. And there's a lot of people in this world that if they were treated a lot kinder, even historical figures that did atrocious things, that if they'd have been shown some kind of kindness in their life somewhere along the way,
Mhm.
their psyche would have been different. Their
Right.
mindset would have been different. And it's all in how we look at one another without
Correct.
judgment. Remember that. It tells us without judgment. So just try and remember to be kind and loving. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you dumb. It doesn't make you vulnerable. It makes you human.
Hmm.
Human. It's a word that we need to
Well, it's yeah,
spread.
human decency. It's just human kindness.
Yeah, humanity. Humanity. We need to get humanity back in. We need to have a village. We
Hmm.
need to raise a village, folks. We need a village.
Well, we need to get this village stronger, and we need to get everybody that can actually, you know, want to educate and plant seeds and do what we got to do to try to get this village stronger and bigger. Because it's gonna, like I said, it's gonna take a village before we can even do anything. But we're on the right track nonetheless. And thank you to you, Tammy, for making that happen.
Well, we're trying. We're all making it happen. That's what matters. And the big man upstairs is pushing force behind it all.
Yeah,
We
there's a
can't
lot
make
of
society better, and we can't not help people coming out of the system be human if we don't show them that humanity and reach out our hand and say, look, I know you screwed up. You know you screwed up, but here's my hand. Let me help you. Let
right.
me help you help you. Let me help you help yourself. Show me what you got. Let's see, where can we go from here? What can I do? You know?
Correct. Well, keep me in your prayers, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, I'm fighting my own demons and whatnot over here. So keep me in your thoughts and prayers. I really need the prayers for stuff. So, with that being said, I will do what I can to keep this podcast alive and continue to try to keep this movement alive and make it stronger. But if you want to be a part of it, let me know. Reach out to me right now, guys, with anything and everything that you may have over there in your neck of the woods at my email at voicesfrominsideout@gmail.com. Again, voicesfrominsideout@gmail.com. Get a hold of me and let's do what we can to bring solid change within this very corrupt system. Tammy, do you have anything you want to say in closing?
Just love you all, and let's just get those prayers going, and let's get the connections going. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you have an idea and you have things that you can think about, and you know and you need, and you know, sometimes we may not have all the answers, but we'll definitely push to help. You all have wonderful ideas, and I think the world of you. You know who you are, and you know how I feel. So let's just push this. Let's get this village built.
Amen,
We
Curtis.
we can do that, you know.
Correct. Well, I will see you on this coming Friday's Man's Night with whatever we got planned for that. So if you're wanting to know what's going on with that, stay tuned. If you're new here, sub, hit the like, hit and smash the sub button, the like button, and put a comment down below what you guys thought about this video and others. And with your guys' continued support, this is how we make change, slowly but surely. Mark said, and the world needs a lot more empathy. Absolutely, I agree. Well, thank you guys so much for.
100%.
Yep, Trey Stone, real quick. I'll say this and I'll get out of here. Jesus was wrongfully convicted. Absolutely, I know he was. Curtis said, I agree 100% by his grace, only in my hair. Yeah. And
And
Curtis said, you're welcome, Jay. Yep, thank you.
you know, he saved and walked, and all his apostles were sinners. They weren't
Yeah.
saints, folks. They weren't saints. They were sinners, every single one of them.
Nope, nobody's perfect.
That's who he chose to walk with. This
Yeah.
earth, when you think about that, if you just really sit and think about that, that's who he chose to redeem. That is who he chose to bring light and truth to for the rest of the world to see. Wake up,
Well,
people.
this is weird to say, but I believe if Adam and Eve didn't disobey Jesus in the Eden of Garden or Garden of Eden, excuse me, I don't think we would have evil today. But thanks to that little event that happened in the garden, yeah, that's exactly why we have evil today. I believe, truthfully.
Okay, so I'm gonna disagree.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll tell you why. When Michael betrayed God and pushed, that's when everything started. Up in the heavens, Michael turned his back to God. He wanted to run things, he wanted to be in charge of the show. And so he enticed Adam and Eve and caused the issues. That's where evil was introduced to us.
Thank you,
So they
Mark.
disobeyed. And I think that, you know, think about that in our modern day lives. We
Right.
have these, everybody has that darkness to them. Every person on this planet. I can't think of a person I know that hasn't had some kind of bad thought. Remember, God hears our thoughts, our words, and sees our
Mhm.
actions.
I know.
So we get angry or something like that. That's that dark side creeping in. I mean, how many people have ever said, man, I'd like to like flatten their tires because they're acting
Mhm.
like idiots how they're driving? Or,
Yep.
you know,
Revenge.
hey, I'd like to
Revenge.
do XYZ to
Yep.
this
Revenge.
person. Or yeah, or you're just
Revenge
angry
is
and you
always
say
on a
something
lot of
ugly.
people's hearts. Yeah.
Yeah,
Revenge happens all the time.
and it's darkness. That's not light. That's not love. That's not understanding that, oh God, that person just really is old and really shouldn't be driving anymore, but doesn't want to give up the freedom to drive. You know, you're in Florida, so I mentioned that, you know. But so, you know, we all have our dark things that everybody does and says. It's
Absolutely.
the difference of acting upon them and not, and letting that light in and
Mhm.
spreading that more of that goodness to one another. We have to be there and support each other in our dark times. I think that's what this is really about.
Yeah.
If
Well,
Adam and
and
Eve had had somebody that said to them, hey, that's just the devil talking to you, don't do that, you're going to mess
mhm,
it up for everybody. They didn't have that.
right.
You get it? You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like, it's
I do.
different.
I do. But anyways, we're past our time, guys. I wish I could be in here longer, but it is what it is. But with that being said, I want to give a major shout out to everybody in the chat. You know who you are. Thank you guys so much for being here and showing your support. If you're, like I said, if you're new here, hit the sub, hit and smash the like button. It helps my channel and support me in any way you guys can. I greatly appreciate it. The member section's in there. If you guys want to join and become a member and have extra perks, you can do that. Or if you just want to reach out to me, do what you can. Again, at voicesfrominsideout@gmail.com. Again, and get a hold of me if you have questions, comments, concerns at my email, voicesfrominsideout@gmail.com. With that said, I'm your host, Jay. I will see you guys on Friday's Man's Night coming up this week. With that being said, good night, everybody. Take care. Peace.